Joining us on the program tonight is Rajasthan Congress President Sachin Pilot, who joins us this evening from Jhunjhunu. Also with us, Yogendra Yadav, co-founder of Swaraj Abhiyan. We've got Shaina NC joining us from Mumbai tonight, and Aarti Jairath here in the studio with us. I'll take that question first to Shaina. Shaina, why hasn't the Prime Minister said anything? And should the Prime Minister come out and clarify what his position is on something that has engulfed not one but two senior leaders and a very senior minister?
I think, Nidhi, you need to view this in totality. What the Ministry of External Affairs did was purely in its parameter, whether they chose rightly or wrongly to go on a humanitarian ground vis-a-vis an Indian national, which has been done in the past, be it Yemen, Ludhiana, Chandigarh, lots of such cases. You asked about why the Prime Minister needs or need not react. The Finance Ministry and the Enforcement Directorate, and especially the Economic Offences Wing, is working very competently on this case of Lalit Modi, and I think it's only time that will prove whether he is guilty, innocent, and whatever the facts of the case are would be provided in a court of law. I don't think it is for the Prime Minister, who is elected on a mandate of good governance and strong leadership and stability, to be commenting and to be intervening when there are two ministries which are involved. I want to also say that when you allege against somebody, for example, in Vasundhara Raje's case, where you hand out a paper, flash it on television and say this is a secret document, which is not even signed by her, then it is an unsubstantiated allegation. No,
I'll just counter you on 2 or 3 points, Shaina. One is, it was not a Ministry of External Affairs decision to give humanitarian help to Lalit Modi. It was the minister's decision, and it is now clear that she acted on her own. There was no official file in the ministry on this, and the Foreign Secretary at the time was also not consulted on it. Number one. Number two, are you really comparing the help to Lalit Modi to the help that Indians got in Yemen? Because that is a very interesting comparison. And number three, the point here is that Vasundhara Raje herself has not at all denied that she has signed those papers for Lalit Modi. For 3 days, she has not come out and said that these documents are false. She has had the opportunity to issue a statement, and she hasn't said a word on that. She hasn't contradicted it at all. Why isn't then the top leadership like Rajnath Singh, Arun Jaitley and others who defended Sushma Swaraj pretty soon, within hours, why are none of them not defending Vasundhara Raje?
You know, Nidhi, let's just please talk about both cases completely independently and based on the facts. In the case of Sushma Swaraj, I think it's amply clear that she chose to use a humanitarian ground for a cancer survivor who is of Indian origin. And in that view, you may debate as to whether you thought that whether she should have or she shouldn't have. But the fact is, she never coerced or forced British authorities or the British administration. If at all, she said, within the purview of law, if you feel this is a legitimate claim, then so be it, otherwise not. Now, constantly this kind of character assassination where you suggest that, you know, if somebody met someone or if somebody's client, and that too because somebody is working in a law firm where the person happens to be a client, I think is extremely far-fetched and unnecessary. I'm glad our Prime Minister hasn't spoken, because our Prime Minister needs to focus on real issues and concentrate his energies on
okay,
good
let me get
governance,
Sachin Pilot into that then.
Sachin
Pilot, but that is exactly the criticism that was leveled against Manmohan Singh when he was the Prime Minister, that when there were issues that were taking place under the UPA government, he wasn't speaking. Does the Prime Minister now need to make a statement on this? Shaina says no, he doesn't need to speak on each and everything. How do you see it?
Well, first of all, let's be clear as to the person in question. Mr. Lalit Modi is an absconder of Indian law. He's ran away from the country. He's been involved in match fixing, IPL scandals, slush funds, Hawala transactions.
Add that.
FEMA. Now, Shaina, I heard you very calmly. Please have the patience to hear me out. The gentleman, according to your finance minister, is an absconder of Indian law. He says, Arun Jaitley says, if Lalit Modi was to come to India, I will arrest him, prosecute him. 15 notices of, I don't know which shade of blue, but yes, the 15 notices of ED have been issued to him, FEMA violations, and he's been away for 6 years away from this country because he's broken Indian law. He's not just someone who the Prime Minister is keeping quiet about, number one. Number two, when someone is helping and abetting a known absconder, someone is helping and abetting a known absconder, and that document which has a clause that you will not disclose this secret witness account to any Indian authority Ms. Vasundhara Raje knew very well she's breaking the law. As leader of opposition, she has broken the Prevention of Corruption Act. There are now many dots that need to be joined, and we have the clear picture. No one is denying the existence of those documents because they exist. And I think in terms of legality, constitutional ethos, and also fair probability. I mean, look at what the foreign minister says on humanitarian grounds. Here, Vasundhara ji doesn't even have that excuse. What humanitarian grounds? And Mr. Lalit Modi was running the BJP government in Rajasthan from the back doors for 5 years. Everybody knew it. Now, I think it's about time. The Prime Minister, his speech, I remember, Shaina ji, Prime Minister Modi says, मैं आपका चौकीदार हूं, मैं तिजोरी को संभाल के रखूंगा, ना खाऊंगा ना खाने दूंगा. It is about time the Prime Minister of this country speaks up what he feels about these two cases. Is he with Lalit Modi or is he against black money? Does he support people who generate black money and run away, or is he going to be having the faith of the Indian people and fight for their causes and ask these two people to step down?
All right, before I get China, Yogendra Yadav, why is it important for the Prime Minister to speak out on this? Because the idea, I think the expectation was that Mr. Modi would be different, China, and would not follow Manmohan Singh's footsteps in this.
Nobody is absolving Lalit Modi of any crime. If at all, it will be proven in due course. And I'm amazed that my dear friend Sachin is talking about, 6 years he's absconding. Which government was it where he fled? And how was he allowed to flee in the first place? And you did precious little. Suddenly you have raised fingers at us when all our agencies
UPA was in government, he could move out of England. It's because his fortunes turned because BJP won the election.
Our agencies are working, and we have not suggested that he is innocent or guilty. It is a case, and as per the law and as per the verdict of law, one will abide by what it is, and until then you cannot have the Prime Minister, who is the head of the country, commenting on an unsubstantiated allegation.
The comment doesn't have to be on Lalit Modi though, and that's the point, that Yogendra Yadav, does Mr. Modi need to come out and talk about, Sushma Swaraj in particular? She is a very senior minister in his cabinet. Vasundhara Raje, of course, is a very senior BJP leader. But it's not about what the PM thinks about Lalit Modi. It's about what he has to say on the conduct of two senior leaders and a senior cabinet minister. Mr. Yadav.
Nidhi, I guess Shaina has a very, very difficult task today. So I think she should get a little more time than everyone else. Because it's actually an open and shut case. The Prime Minister is clearly interested in speaking about everything except what he needs to speak about. He is eloquent, he is media savvy, he's not tongue-tied as our previous Prime Minister was. What is it that prevents him from speaking? This is such a clear case. Humanitarian ground? Well, there are some questions about how humanitarian it was. 2, all right, humanitarian ground, you would ask your own ministry, you should have asked him to approach the Indian High Commission. Why were you approaching a foreign government for that? 3, if you wanted to do all this, did you do it through proper procedures of your own ministry? Did you actually get a file on this? Did you consult the finance ministry on this question? And if someone had done it without knowing Mr. Lalit Modi, even then it would have been a very, very improper decision. And then it emerges that Mr. Lalit Modi is a family friend. Forget the payments, forget the fact of someone being someone's lawyer. No one conceals the fact, both the sides agree that he is a close family friend. So here is a close family friend who happens to be on the wrong side of law, and his case comes to me because I am the minister. I can do two things. I can say, well, we may be friends, but look, this is a matter of larger thing. This has to be handled in a different way. I recuse myself. I do it in a way that's transparent. Or the other way is, all right, ki farak penda, come, I'll get it done. Don't worry, I'm the boss. Clearly, Ms. Sushma Swaraj chose the second path. Clearly, that is indefensible. Clearly, that's not acceptable. And clearly, the Prime Minister does not only need to speak about it, he needs to say something very clearly, which is, Ms. Swaraj, you need to quit this cabinet. That's the only thing Prime Minister now needs to say, because this is gross impropriety. In the case of Ms. Vasundhara Raje, if the document is correct, if it is not a forged document, then it is not only improper, this is criminal misconduct. Not only does she need to resign as the Chief Minister, she should actually be tried under the law. This is such a simple case here.